Rabbitohs Radio Podcast, the number one source for everything South Sydney Rabbitohs.
Welcome to another edition of Rabbitohs Radio. My name is Grant Chappell. I'm joined by Big Lez from Big Lez's Rugby League podcast. What's doing, Les?
Nothing much, mate. Enjoyed watching some footy last night. Had some big games. It's always a good weekend where Souths get a big win and then the Roosters obviously get done by a big margin against the top side. Makes you feel good. So, good way to end the week, I guess.
Yeah, I've seen a few mates this morning, Roosters fans, arguing about what went wrong and what could have been. And we probably didn't play the way we wanted to and still got away with a win. So, yeah, that adds up to a pretty good weekend if you ask me, Les. Look, straight into the Quest apartment giveaway over there at Woolooware in conjunction with our great friends at Darrell Lee. Now, that competition will be drawn Monday week. We're recording here Sunday, the day after the mighty Rabbitohs victory. So, had a good response from that one, Les. A lot of comments and a lot of shares and a lot of likes, mate.
Yeah, very excited to see who gets to win that one. Obviously, a great response. So, I'm super keen to see who gets that job done. Obviously, it's a great little prize there too.
It certainly is. And we've got the Site Pizza giveaway competition, the guest the player, and that'll be up shortly as well. Look, straight into the South Sydney Rabbitohs win up there on the Central Coast. I didn't go up myself. I went out to Redfern Oval and watched some of those Pathways games. So we'll talk about that one a bit later. But 42 points to 28, Les. Bit of an open, scrappy affair. Both teams conceded 28, 29 points a game. So probably wasn't a big surprise. But there was some good tries scored on the day, mate.
Yeah, look, some great tries scored. Some great performances as well. The only thing that worries me, going into the next few weeks, we pretty much got every team that wants to fight for a spot in the 8, along with the top 3 sides in the competition in Penrith, Melbourne, and obviously the Roosters at the moment as well. It does worry me a little bit that we could still concede 28 points to the West Tigers, who are at the bottom of the ladder. And, it's not really about where they are in the ladder. It's about the form that they're playing with now. And the form that they're playing with now is still quite good. But I think that just conceding 28 points to the Tigers, when we do need to win and win well against some of these other sides to push our way into the 8, defensively, there's a few concerns there for me going into the next few weeks. But, look, towards the back end of the game, we were very dominant. Obviously scored the last 2 tries to get the job done. It's just, for me, more so the defense. And, we had Cookie go out to the centers as well. We had a bunch of things go wrong. But I still think that, with the amount of ball that we had, the amount of opportunities that we had, I just feel like we should have shut them out by a little bit more. But I'm keen to hear your thoughts.
Yeah, no, I mean, the boys would have been a bit disappointed with some of the tries they let in. There was a couple up the middle, and we'll go through each one as we go. But the intensity probably wasn't quite there in the line speed for the majority of that game. I think we dominated the first 10 or 12 minutes. They dominated the next 10 or so minutes. We got back a bit of momentum before halftime, let that try in right before halftime, which was a bit of a coach killer. And then after halftime, they jumped out and looked pretty good. We took a bit of momentum back off them. They had the bloke sent in the bin, and then we sort of took a bit of control late in that game and had a sort of almost comfortable win, you could probably say. But, yeah, no, I guess it's one of those games. You say a win's a win, and the boys had to make a few adjustments on the run with the centre going down quite early. Richie Kenner, I'd say he's on the 11-day stand down, so he'll be unavailable next week. We'll talk about maybe possible changes for that one later on. But I thought we opened up pretty strong. It was a Davey Mwali charge, little second man play up the back, players in motion, and Davey was good enough to push big Jareem Buller out the way. And he started well, Davey, didn't he? Nice leg drive.
What was the go with his minutes? He played the first 21 minutes and then didn't come on until the last 3 minutes.
He was off the field for a long time, yeah. I mean, especially for how dominant he was. Maybe the bench rotation got chucked around with Pete having to come on early and stuff like that. I think Pete got 60 out. I'm not sure what the problem was there with the bench rotation. But, yeah, it was Davey started really nicely and got us off to a good start. And then it was the playmaker himself, Tane Milne, mate, just put on a nice little dribbly kick. And a lot of the South players were just standing still. Everyone except for Cody Walker had kept his legs moving and pushed up, and the ball landed in his back, a lap for another good try. And I thought I thought this could have been anything. This could have been 50-0 at one stage.
Well, I'll tell you what, I know why Tane Milne's the big Ramos bricklayer. He had a great game on the weekend. He, has been great for us for the past few weeks, and people are starting to sort of recognise the work that he's doing now after a pretty decent game from him in attack, obviously setting up that try. But, 3 try assists in this game for Big Tane. You wouldn't have really pictured him as the big try assist guy, but he looked great with the ball in hand, and then coming out of his own end as well, was just getting through a ton of work, 20 runs for 156 metres. I thought he had a great game, Tane. Really solid game.
Yeah, he's a worthy winner of the Brick by Brick Ramos Bricklaying Award for round 20. 4 offloads, he's always dangerous. 1 offload he'd like back. I think he chucked it into a Tigers bloke's lap coming out of our own end. But other than that, I thought he was pretty exemplary. He pulled their pants down on that second try as well, where he just basketballed it over the top. Tane was he was on fire in that first half. Someone told me Tane had 3 try assists in the first half. I'll tell him, mate, I think it's time to stop drinking. Get off the drink. But no, well done to him. He got a bit of reward there, Tane, and I was happy for him. Now, the Tigers sort of started to win a bit of the ruck speed, and it was that young fella, Talon Da Silva, one of the teenagers in this side. I think there's 5 or 6 teenagers in this side, off to another teenager in Lockie Galvin, who's a star. And they had us on the back foot. They played some good footy through the middle of the field, really targeted us there. We had some markers got split, I think it was between Cookie and Tallis, and away they went.
Yeah, I mean, Lockie Galvin is so different to some of the halves that we see in the competition today. I mean, it's very rare you see a half run over 150 metres every single week. He only ran for 200 on the weekend off 22 runs, 2 tackle busts in there as well, a try assist, 20 tackles. He gets through so much work, Lockie Galvin, in this side. And it looks like Aiden Caesar's going to miss a few weeks, obviously getting sent to the bin. So he's going to have to step up in the next few weeks too. Lockie Galvin, be interesting to if they bring Jaden Sullivan back or if they bring someone else in, Latu Fine, who maybe gets an opportunity there. But Lockie Galvin, there's a reason why he's the guy that hasn't been taken out of this side yet. He has been phenomenal for them over the past few weeks, and he was troubling us. He really was, going down their left and coming down our right. He was really troubling our defense, just his combinations with Samuela down on the left there, but also just some of his other combinations with some of the other guys on the left-hand side as well. Really, really troubling. Luke Laulili coming out of his own end, the winger there, the young bloke, really, really troubling signs, in great signs for them in terms of their attack.
Yeah, well, he was involved in the second try. Cody Walker made a tackle on him. He went to get off the ground. Cody Walker, Lockie Galvin, smart young player, grabbed Cody Walker's shirt, pulled him down to keep him out of the next play. They were able to get a dominant play of the ball. I think it was Jareem Buller, and he was off again. It was the same two blokes at marker, Tallis Duncan and Damien Cook. Tallis unable to get back in time, and Talon Da Silva jumped up, heads up play, dummy, went himself, and mate, they hit the lead. 12-10 with a couple of kicks from Aiden Caesar.
I tell you what, I wasn't expecting that sort of performance from Talon Da Silva. He had a great game. Really, really solid play. 70 minutes as well in this one, so huge minutes for the young bloke. I think he's only 19, 20 as well. So they've got a few young guys in this team who are just killing it and taking their opportunity with both hands. As I said, 2 line breaks, 2 tackle busts, a try assist. He just was in everything. Big in defense as well, 42 tackles. But just his work out of dummy half and his deception with his ball playing, just where he looks versus where he passes. A lot of hookers in our game do it very, very well. But, I thought that he was great on the weekend. Really, really solid for them. And, if it weren't for a few other hookers and their performances in different games, I tell you what, he'd be one of the hookers of the weekend after his performance.
Oh, he's a superstar. He had that won the premiership in the Harold Matts with that great Western Suburbs Magpies team that came through. Obviously made his debut. They got beat 70-0, not a night to remember, but this West Tigers team's got plenty of ability, plenty of talent. Look, it shouldn't have been a try anyway. Cody Walker was pulled down in the play, and that's the reason why he couldn't get back to a defender. But because they sort of don't go back 2 plays, they sort of normally only go back 1 play. They will for a knock-on, but a bit of foul play. Referee missed that one. That should have been pulled back, in my opinion. Look,
So,
and then from then on in, it was actually a contest because prior to that, like I said, I thought we were going to run over the top of them. I think it was what's the big fella? Uito Ukamano. Mate, he had a good
yeah.
game. Jeez, he was dominating down the middle of the field. I was really happy with what I've seen from him. West Tigers fans will be certainly licking their lips, mate. Big Stefano, mate. He rampaged, mate. Definitely.
Yeah. Look, Stefano looked good. I wish he would have had a few more runs. Only had the 51 minutes. Ran for 95 off the 9 runs. Full tackle bust. He is very dangerous. I still feel like, though, if he wants that big contract like he's chasing at the moment, he is going to probably have to go to that next level and have a few more big performances. But yeah, look, I thought that it was a decent one. It's definitely an improvement from what we've seen over some other weeks. It's just the consistency for me that he needs to improve on, but also, look at some of the other front rowers that are on those big doughy contracts. They run for 150, 200 meters. They get through a ton of work. They're up there with the tackle count as well. So if he wants that big doughy contract, like some of these other big front rowers in our game, he's definitely going to have to go to that next level. But I still thought it was a pretty solid performance for the time that he was on, and definitely got a lot of go forward through the middle there for the Tigers.
Yeah, he certainly did. It was Alex Johnson come up with a double. I thought Alex Johnson, he's just a prolific try scorer. Close to the line there, he was able to dive over for a couple. One in particular, I think, was off a Michael Cheekham offload. They got it back to Pete Mamazelos, who I thought had a good game. Talk about him a bit later, but able to get it out to Tane. Another one-handed offload. Alex Johnson could put those 2 tries down to his mate there, Tane Milne, and he didn't have a lot to do, to be honest.
Yeah, look, we spoke about Tane already in the game that he's had with his try assists and just what he's been doing in this game, the offloads and everything. Look, Alex Johnston for me, other than those 2 tries, had the 4 tackle busts. I think the Tigers did pretty well to limit the amount of meters we were getting coming out of our own end. You look at the 2 wingers for us, Jacob Gagai, Alex Johnston, both under 100 meters in this game. They did very well to limit the amount of meters we were getting out of our own end. So credit to the Tigers. I thought that their defensive scramble in their kick chase was still pretty good. And it did, as I said, limit the amount of, meterage and kick return meters that we were getting there in some of our sets. But yeah, look, Alex Johnson, great to see him get that try scoring tally up and obviously getting closer and closer to that record as well.
Yeah, well, you talk about yardage sets. I think they had average 43.5 metres per yardage set. We were around the 39 metre mark, so that'd be a bit disappointing. Something Wayne will be looking to rectify next season. I think our back 3 or even your back 5 are just got to get us on the front foot a little bit more, coming deep out of yardage. And that's probably what we're not quite getting at the moment. You think about your good teams like your Roosters, your Melbourne Storm, your Broncos even, your Cronulla Sharks, they really roll out of their own end with their back 3. And they're a bit bigger and a bit stronger than the blokes we've got. So that might be something that Wayne looks to rectify going forward. What about a bloke like Tallis Duncan? We spoke. He got a bit caught at marker there on 1 or 2 occasions, but it's his first game in his career that he's ever played the full 80 minutes. Got through a bit of work, 37 tackles, top the tackle count for the Rabbitohs. Only the 2 misses, which is not a bad effort for your first go out in the edge. 4 tackle breaks. Thought he poked his nose through a couple of times in the first half, but no one was there to give it to. Nearly scored a try on a crash play in the second half. Mate, well done, Tallis Duncan, on his first game this season.
Yeah, look,
Full
I'm pretty happy with the performance that he had, especially in attack. He was just getting a lot of work done, when he was running the ball and had the 4 tackle bust there as well, 12 carries the footy. Yeah, he spoke about the 37 tackles. I thought he did very, very well, to be honest, in his first game playing the full 80. Obviously, there would have been a bit of fatigue there as well, but yeah, definitely a big achievement for him. And I think he handles himself okay. I think that you can't really take him out of first grade now. He's a genuine first grader. Tallis Duncan, the defense will come, but I thought that he was quite solid there, playing the full 80 in the back row. Definitely got through a lot of work. Now, I want to ask you a question. Is there any backstory behind how he wears his headgear for the first half and then the second half he goes without it? What's the backstory there? Have you got anything for me?
Okay. I'm glad you asked me. I forgot to prep you up about this, but you wouldn't believe it. I was speaking to his father today about it. Kane Duncan, big Roosters fan. We won't hold that against you, Kano. But yeah, he just said a lot of people have asked him that same question, and the reason is he's got a pretty thick head of hair, so he wears it in the first half, and when his head gets really hot, he takes it off. So he wears it from the start to try and protect himself because he has had a few head knocks and a few cuts over the years, and he's not a bad looking fella, so he's probably trying to protect those looks. I think his brother's actually a model. There you go. So he takes it off in the second half, and it's a trigger for him also to fire up and click into gear. He says it's almost like the go button when he takes it off. It's let's go. So he starts with it on, and just purely for the heat. It's the first time I'd ever asked his old man about that. I've been thinking about it, but just never got around to it. So there you go. That's the reasoning behind the headgear for Tallis Duncan.
Yeah, look, I've been thinking about it for weeks, and I just haven't asked about it because I thought I was wigging out. I was like, I see him without the headgear in the second half, and I'll be like, am I watching the same bloke? Like, what's going on here? But yeah, look, I've sort of just been waiting to ask for a few weeks, but yeah, good to know. Good to know there. Tallis Duncan, definitely got some good looks on him. I'll tell you what, with him in the side, with Cam Murray, and then with Jamie Humphries coming in, I think we've got the hottest trio in rugby league, to be honest. I don't know if there's any trio that comes close to that one. I know you've got the boys at the Broncos, but I'd call that more of a four-way, to be honest, with those guys. You got Walshy, Ricky, you had Herbie in there, and then obviously Tony Staggs,
mate. I agree.
a few of those other guys as well. But
well done, Tallis Duncan, and we're only going to see a lot more from that bloke as he jumps out in the edge here and learns his craft, and obviously around the ruck area, he's probably got a little bit of improvement there if he goes back and looks at the tape there. I thought it was really impressive to see the big fella back. Liverhavili hasn't played in a number of weeks now. He's such a thick little unit. Jumped on, only played the 20 odd minutes, I think it was, but punched out 91 metres there, and I think he had a decent amount of tackles in there too, mate.
Yeah, sure did. Liverpool, great return for him. Just getting through a bit of work, obviously coming through the middle there. I thought that he'd probably get a bit of time at hooker, considering that we had Pete go down with a foot injury at one point. He ended up staying on the field, so Havili just mainly played through the middle. But I think it's good just to have someone there who has got that experience in that ball-playing role that can come in through the middle and just be a bit of a link man there. But yeah, look, very happy with that return. Hopefully get some more minutes over the next few weeks.
And the veteran himself, 200 gamer for the South Sydney Rabbitohs, Damien Cook. There was a bit of conjecture who was going to kick. I noticed Tane kicking at training. He was kicking pretty good. I mean, you were at the captain's run the other day. Big Lez, you might tell us about your experience there in a minute. But I thought he kicked outstanding, Damien Cook. 7 from 8, one of his easiest kicks. He actually missed it in the first one, and he never looked like missing after that. It really struck him nice and straight. But he had 2 try assists, and when he went out in the centres, he had a lot of run meters out there, out wide. Had a couple of missed tackles there, Cookie, but you can expect that from a little fella playing out wide.
Well, mate, it's good. It's always good when you've got a origin centre that can kick some goals for you in the hooking position, to be honest. But I thought Cookie played well. I thought he handled himself well. Yes, there was a few missed tackles there, but you got to expect it with a guy playing out of position. But just in attack, I thought that he got some. He just got some great go forward, plenty of meters, 156 meters in total, just with his speed there out wide, 7 tackle busts as well. So he was genuinely making an impact out there in the centres, despite that not being his main position. I'm pretty happy with that performance. And yeah, I'll tell you what, he's pretty much going to be locked in as the goal kicker now until Latrell comes back. I'll tell you that for free.
Yeah, well, I'm not going to be changing him for anyone at the moment. He absolutely nailed a couple from out wide, not on his favoured side. Well done to Damien Cook. He's going to be a big loss next year. He's not going to be easy to replace. A guy he's just about played every position on the field this season. Very versatile. Look, I really like what I've seen from Peter Mamazoulis. I think we look pretty good when he jumps into hooker. His service is good. His defence is good. He only had the 2 missed tackles in the middle of the field there. He just gets through a lot of work, and it was the first time he's really bits of minutes off this year. I think he had the 60-odd minutes. He scored a try, a nice little opportunist try down there. It's his 19 games into his career. He had a bit of a look of frustration down at Coogee Oval last week, so I'm glad for his sake and his family's sake that he's just got a few minutes. And I mean, I wouldn't mind seeing him start, to be honest, and seeing Cookie come off the bench and carve him up, or vice versa. At least let me have a look at it before the end of the season, if we're going to set up and see what Pete's really got.
Yeah, great to see what Pete's, what Pete's got as well, playing big minutes. And I think that, I agree with you. I'd like to see a few games where Pete starts, and I think Damien Cook would understand. Cookie's not going to be here next year. Peter Manzolas is realistically going to be our hooker next year, with maybe a Jamie Humphreys coming off the bench at 14. So I want to see Pete get some more minutes. He was great at the dummy half. A few of the opportunities that he had where he sort of came out of dummy half looking for people, and just his darts at a dummy half. He's got some great footwork as well, and his service is always good. So yeah, look, I want to see him play some bigger minutes too. I think that the 60 minutes that he got was great. And yeah, when you're preparing for next year, I think that it's something that South Sydney are probably going to have to focus on and think about over the next few weeks too.
He did sort of cop a bit of an ankle injury there. I think he was limping at one stage, but he has had a reoccurring ankle injury throughout his career. So fingers crossed he's going to be all right for next week. Look, the reason he came on the field was Big Richie. He only got about 20 minutes out, Richie, and he copped a head knock there. He copped a hip, bit of Tallis Duncan's shoulder at the same time. And I'd say he'll have the 11-day stand down policy, mate. He comes out. Who do you put in? Do you start Damien Cook in the centre? So he hasn't let anyone down, or do we bring up one of the boys in the Reggies there?
I think it's Fletcher Myers time. Can't wait to find out how he goes. Going to look through the New South Wales Cup a bit later today, but I think it's his time to go. He's been carving up there. He's good in contact. I think that you just got to, put the piece down and give it a go. I think that he's ready. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, man, I like Fletcher Myers. He's certainly got a lot of foot speed, a little bit more speed than Richie Kenner and Tane Milne, so he offers that a little bit. He's a goal kicker. Kicked out, I think, 6 from 8 the other day, didn't he? Yesterday. So I actually like his other centre partner, mate, Mansfield Webster. I like what I've seen from him. He's a powerhouse. I think he had 140-odd metres, the big fella. He's an option. We've also got some more forwards coming back, blokes like Jacob Host is coming back next week. He's going to play, and Shaq Mitchell, they're definitely going to play, whether it's first grade or reserve grade. Not sure how they're going to shuffle the deck chairs there, but you definitely got those 2 guys coming back, but Richie coming out of the side. So yeah, there might be a couple of changes, but we know Coach Ben Hornby likes to stabilise things as much as possible. I don't think form-wise anyone deserves to be dropped at the moment in any position, so he may make complete minimal changes. Richie comes out, he might bring Jacob Host in into the back row, for example, who's a veteran back row, played over 100 games. Put Michael Cheekham out in the centre, or he just might make a straight swap there. Richie Kenner out, Mansfield Webster in, or Myers in.
Maybe even Isaac Thompson.
That might be. Yep, Isaac's been in some pretty good form. The big fella's been playing on the wing there. I certainly was impressed with him last week. I'm seeing him in the flesh. Looks like he's done the work to get himself back into condition to play. But yeah, anyway, we'll see what happens there. And Jai Gray, mate, again, every time he touches the ball, quite explosive, copped a hip drop tackle. I'll have to go to training during the week and see how Jai's pulled up there. He's had a bit of a history of ankle injuries, only just come back from syndesmosis. He scored a try, a little power try there, had a number of tackle breaks. I think he had 6 tackle breaks or something like that, the little fella. We need him in this lineup, Big Les.
Yeah, look, I agree. He's killed it in that fullback role. And look, we sort of spoke about it at the start. He's not shy of contact for his size. And you look at some of the other fullbacks in the competition who have got the size on them that are quite shy in contact. He is great with his kick returns, always manages to get a bit of extra meters there in contact. The 3 tackle busts that he had there at the end of the game as well. Defensively solid, only had the 1 missed tackle out there at fullback. So I really think that, he's probably going to have to be in and around this lineup too over the next few weeks. But look, it will depend on, obviously, when the Troll comes back, do they chuck him at 14 and keep him and Peter Mamanzolis or him and Havili on the bench, depending on what they want to do. It is going to be hard to work out this rotation. We could see a world where maybe he does go back to reserve grade, Jai grade, to be honest, and finish the year there because you do want to have Peter Mamouzelos on the bench, over the next few weeks just to get those minutes in before next year when he's obviously the full-time hooker. So, yeah, it will be interesting. I think what South Sydney are also concerned on is what is the best 17 that we have available that is going to be able to get us into finals. So whatever that 17 looks like, that's the 17 I imagine that's going to be named for Ben Hornby there. So, yeah, keen to see what happens and keen to see how we look going into next week.
Well, it's going to be cold in Canberra. I think it's a Sunday evening game. It's not the greatest time slot. We don't play a lot of football down south because we're such a big TV ratings team. Look, let's talk about he's done it again. 200 metres. We won the game. That's six from six for Keon this season. 6 times he's gone over 200 metres, and 6 times we've come up with a victory. 209 metres there for Keon. 78 post-contact metres. The bloke's a freak, and guess what? He's going to be playing his 100th game of NRL and 100th game for the South Sydney Rabbitohs next week down there in the nation's capital.
Yeah, look, congratulations to him. He has been in sensational form, even when he hasn't run over 200 metres. But obviously in the games that he has, we've won, which is great. Looking for him to have a big performance here up against Canberra as well next week. That's going to be a tough forward battle with some of the better forwards in the competition in Papali'i and Tarpanay as well. But in this game, especially just against some of those forwards who are doing well for the Tigers in Fanua Pole and Sione Finu when they came off the bench, just weathering the storm with those two guys. I think he was one of our better defenders too on the day. So Keon, just all-rounder. And as I said, you probably got to keep him in the middle for the rest of the year, even when Cam Murray comes back. I think that if Cam Murray does go back to 13, you've got to keep Keon in the front row going into the next few weeks.
Yep, I couldn't disagree with that, mate. What about the West Tigers? They just show you they've got so much youth and exuberance and talent there. I mean, Jareem Buller, he's almost a veteran now. He's still only a baby, really. Lower Lily, he had some good moments, like the try before half-time. I think he was rampaging down the wing and palmed off Cookie and got it back on the inside with a nice pass at full flight. Dropped a few balls. He had a real mixed game. We've already spoken about the hooker and the 5'8". And look, I was pretty impressed with a lot of the Finu brothers. They played some pretty good roles. Fanua Pole, he just gets better. And Jordan Miller's only going to continue to contribute the more you expose him to at this level. Again, 130-odd kilos. He doesn't look out of place. He'll try and get that motor up. They just need to try and get some more experience and talent around him. And I wasn't too disappointed in what I've seen from Charlie Staines. He had some moments. Really nice kick return. I think it was the second half where he put the Jets on and made about a 40 or 50 metre return. So there's a lot to like about what we've seen from those West Tigers players.
And I think the defence has improved a little bit in terms of their jamming on their edges. So, look, maybe this is the team that we do see get named this coming week as well. Hopefully they keep a bit of consistency with this lineup going into the rest of the year.
Yeah, indeed, mate. Anything more on that game?
No, not really. It was a good game of football. Yeah, just a little bit.
Your mum went up there? Your mum went up and watched it, mate? She went up the Central Coast and got her eyes on it?
Yeah, sure did. She obviously went up there with a few other family members of mine, just a few aunties and uncles. It was good to, I guess, yeah, she said that she enjoyed it. The atmosphere was great up there in Gosford. So, yeah, good that they got the win as well.
Yeah, nice, mate. Yeah, as I said, I couldn't make it, but we might go to the pathways brought to you by the juniors, Juniors Kingsford, Juniors Maroubra and Juniors Malabar. Get down there and watch any of the NRL games when you can, and they've got some great restaurants there down there at the juniors group of clubs. New South Wales Cup, 44 points to 24. It was a game on at in Trustee Group Stadium at Gosford just before the Rabbitohs v the West Tigers in first grade, and I actually watched this one on the phone while I was watching the Harvey Norman women's. It was on about the same time, so I had my eyes all over the joint. But yeah, there were some good performances. Ryan Gray stood out. My brother Miles was ringing me after the game and had some glowing reports about him. Thomas Fletcher was on fire there. Scored a couple of tries, big Tommy. And unfortunately, pulled a hamstring injury just before half-time and nothing confirmed, but it looks like possibly his season is over. with only a few rounds to go, really. And unfortunately for Tommy, just been just had no luck, the big fella.
Yeah, in the wars at the moment, Big Tommy. Wishing him all the best. Hopefully not a season-ending one. Hopefully he does come back. But if it is, yeah, as I said, wishing him all the best. They're going into the rest of the year just to sit out, recoup, get ready for the following season. Yeah, some big performances in this one. We spoke about Isaac Tuitupo Thompson as well, definitely making a bit of an audition to hopefully come back into first grade. And you brought up Mansfield Webster as well there in the centres, who got a ton of meters. Kick returns were good. Yeah, and obviously didn't miss a tackle out there in the centres too. So defensively is quite sound, which is what we need too, as well as a bit of strike. So I could see any one of those guys coming in. Fletcher Myers has obviously been in the reserves for the past 2 weeks for South, has been that sort of 18th man role. So maybe we do see him come in as well. Be interesting to see who South Sydney go ahead and select.
Yeah, it will be interesting. I mean, yeah, Myers, they brought him over for a reason. They're obviously like what they've seen from him the last couple of years up at the Knights, and he came through the system at Manly in some pretty good Manly teams over the years. Look, he's a guy that he's well built. He's no little string bean, that's for sure. Has to be the high 90s, mid to high 90 kilos. Mansfield Webster's a bigger, more power centre. It depends what they're looking for. If they're looking for like for like, if Richie Kenner comes out, what's Richie play? Right centre.
Yeah.
Mansfield Webster, right centre. Same body shape, power game. Scored a nice crash play off a bit of crafty work from the dummy half, Ryan Gray. As I said, Ryan Gray scored a couple of tries. He laid on a few tries. He was impressive. Off contract next year, someone they may look at. We're going to obviously have to have a lot of backup and a lot of options in the hooker position. He was pretty strong. Yeah, look, just gazing my eye over the rest of them. I think Harry O'Kane, the Irish international, did some nice things out there. And obviously, Isaac Tuitupu Thompson, again, tops the run meters. A big fella punched out 165 odd metres. He's always a handful. The Roosters, big return from Robert Toya. He's been touted for many, many years. He's had back-to-back knee reconstructions. He came back and scored a try. Still only 19 or 18 years of age. Very young. Former State of Origin, 20s player. Geez, I'd love to go over and grab him from the other side of the street. Have him in our colours.
Yeah, totally. Look, there's some great players in this Roosters system at the moment. Tyrese Tate there on the wing, really talented. Obviously, he was in the under-19s Origin game. D. Larcell was solid for the time that he was on as well, played around 35 minutes. Had some good touches as well. Started with Dylan Napa there, who had a strong game as well. Big Dylan Napa, big minutes, 115 metres, getting through a ton of work. There were definitely some strong performances in this game. For the Roosters as well was a very tough one, but obviously South Sydney getting a big win in a big way by the end.
Yep, they certainly did. They're both right down the bottom of the table, both of those teams, due to injuries and unavailabilities in the top grade. But it was an entertaining match all the same. They're on KO if you want to go back and watch it on the replay. The other game that I went to watch 2 other games down at Redfern Oval yesterday afternoon in blustery conditions. It was the Rabbitohs, South Sydney Rabbitohs, Harvey Norman women's, and they're up against the West Tigers. Saw Noddy Kamali down there. He's going to coach the NRLW team for the Tigers, so he was gazing his eyes over his team. And look, South Sydney Rabbitohs got off to a good start. Tigers fought back, but they were able to hang on for a 20-14 win. They're building something nicely there, the Rabbitohs. They're in 3rd position now, 2 wins from 3 games. I was impressed with Young. I think she's only 19, and Kiara McGregor. The long-time listeners of the program would remember us talking about her. Maddie Studden just got them around the park. The wind caused a bit of havoc there, but it was a great afternoon. And you know what? They had a big crowd down there. Had a decent crowd. A lot of people go out and follow the girls. Paige Knapp, one to look an eye out for. Pretty quick on the grass down there. I think Janae Collins played well on the hooker position. Michaela Langer, I was impressed with what I've seen from her. But, yep, good game down there and another win for the girls.
Yep, the girls have been playing some good footy over the past few weeks. We've been always talking positive about the girls, whenever we bring them up on the podcast, because they have been doing quite well at the moment. Got some talented players in that roster too. So, look, as you said, another great win by the girls.
Yep, and our coach, Jason Doherty, was pretty happy with what he's seen down there. And the game before that was Tippy's team. It was up against the Roosters, unfortunately. The Roosters were just too good for on that occasion. 28 points to 8 tries. Danetown, 4 tries in 2 weeks. McIntosh, the big ranger. He looks a bit like Ronald McDonald. He's got the big fiery red hair out there on the wing, but scored a nice try, the big fella. But it was a star in the making. Ethan Roberts in the first half just carved us a bit on the left edge. A big, powerful second rower who were very close to signing a few years ago, but he committed to the Bondi Junction Club. Got a huge future. And Al Holton was a player to keep an eye out for there. But, yep, unfortunately, another loss there for our Jersey Flag side. The boys will keep rolling the sleeves up, having a go. And one of your old schoolmates was in the thick of it most of the game. Ruggo, he's only in a couple of stinks there, but he's certainly as tough as they come. Coming up against all his mates.
Yeah, exactly. It definitely was the old Marcelin Cup in this one as well. Our old school captain was in the back row too, Julius Mitchell. He had a bit of a dig out there as well. So, yeah, look, unfortunate the Rabbitohs couldn't get the job done. But, yeah, strong performance by the Roosters in that one.
It was a bit rare because early on there wasn't that many people there, but there's actually a bigger bloody crowd for the Roosters, which disappointed me, unfortunately. But you don't say that very often at Redfern. There was actually more Roosters going for their side than there were Rabbitohs, but the crowd filled in once the girls' team started. But yeah, unfortunately, the boys just couldn't get it done. Daniel Wright, some classy little touches from Daniel Wright, linking up with his wing partner there in Dane Towns. I thought off the bench was good. Archie Donnelly starting to get some fitness back. He looked pretty sharp. He looked good when he was on the field. Toby Sullivan's second spell, pretty strong. But yeah, a little bit to work with there from the mighty South Sydney Rabbitohs, mate. But yeah, still a few games to go to wrap this one up. I don't think we can mathematically make the semis now.
Yeah, look, I mean, you just got to focus on finishing the season strong. And I'm sure Tippy's going to get them primed for the next few weeks and get a good end to the season from them.
He certainly will, mate. State of Origin, we haven't wrapped it there. Be important to say a couple of words because it really was one of the greatest State of Origin games we've ever seen, mate.
Yeah, look, it's best game of footy I've seen in my lifetime for sure, and it's right up there with the grand final of ours in 2014, especially in my lifetime in terms of some great games there. Yeah, look, so good to see the Blues get the job done, and in what was a very stressful game. I'll tell you what, the heart rate was right up there for pretty much the full 80 minutes. Some great performances. Moses, his game management. Edwards coming out of his own end. There was just so many star performances in that game, and I've talked about it ad nauseum on my podcast. But yeah, it is one of the better games that I've seen in my lifetime. That's for sure.
Oh, it was wild. That opening 10 minutes was as good as the opening 10 minutes you'll ever see in State of Origin. They just bashed each other. I think Big Paint Haas took the opening curry and was able to, drag a few blokes with him. Angus Crichton went off for a little bit. That was sort of jolted our momentum a little bit because he ended up making winning man of the series, and rightly so. He was so powerful during that game. But if you think back to game one where the scoreboard really blew out in Queensland's favour, for us to come back, play 2 games on the road, one in Melbourne, one up at the Cauldron of Suncorp, and come out on top and just really physically dominate this Queensland side who, I reckon the second penalty goal they went for, I think that's when I knew we had them. When it went 4-2, I reckon New South Wales would have looked around at each other and said, we've got them. They don't think they can score against us. All we need to do is just find something, and it was Connor Watson. Unlikely hero. Just the scummiest little one-handed offload. Just had one little hand free and went, whoop, threw it out the back to Luai, who's always got the energy, was able to skip outside Jeremiah Nenai, throw the dummy, get in the backfield, and he's showed a lot of patience to wait for Bradman Best to catch up to him, and Bradman had a bit of work to do. Dane Gagai liked that tackle back. He went high on Bradman Best, and I don't think anyone will go high on Bradman Best again in that situation. The whole world's seen that, and once we scored one was going to be enough. That's all we needed. We ended up scoring another one late, but outstanding performance for our guys. On the Queensland side, I thought Tom did. He was just about the best in a beaten side. That bloke is an absolute cattle dog. He does not stop.
Yeah, he was unreal. Look, great performance from New South Wales. Defensively was great as well. The intensity was there for pretty much the first 30 minutes of the game, and it's so rare as well to keep that level of intensity for that long. But yeah, look, so good to watch. Tom Didden, you spoke about his defense was outstanding. Obviously, that tackle on Liam Martin was the highlight, but there was a few other tackles as well in that game that really changed the momentum for Queensland. The forwards for Queensland were a lot better. I just thought that New South Wales pretty much had the foot on the throat for majority of that game, and it was just about the slowly getting into Queensland's head. And once that fight broke out, really too, DCE's head was already in. Was gone. So look, Luai, I think is one of the probably the more underrated guys for the series. I think that he would have been a little bit of a smoky for player of the series too, right up there with Angus Crichton. I think that it's no surprise that Angus Crichton got it in the end, but I think that Luai was a real smoky just with the series that he had. But yeah, look, unbelievable game. One of the better games I've seen in my lifetime, as I said. And definitely going to set us up well for next year when we get a few guys back too.
Yeah, just on that fight and the suspensions handed out to only one Manly player, one South player. Very unlucky. I mean, it was two or three guys on top of Jerome Luai. There was a couple of guys on Brian Toto. Cam Murray didn't have a choice to go over and help his teammate. That's what you do. That's what makes us being proud Australians. You go and help your mate when he's in trouble. That's what we do. That's what Australia is famous for. And Cam Murray did what anyone else would have done. Queensland would have done the same thing. Now, Ruben Cotter came over as third or fourth man in, tackled one of our blokes into a plastic chair. I mean, is that worse than what Cam did? Cam just came in and tried to help his mate and push blokes off. He didn't throw any punches. Hamoli Olakwatu just grabbed a few blokes by the jersey, shirt fronted them a bit. Man, I can't believe Ruben Cotter avoided suspension. And also, Nanai, the third bloke in, he's the one that pushed it over towards the Queensland bench. He escaped any weeks off. So I thought we were unlucky there. Ridiculous decisions. The genius himself, Michael Maguire, absolutely love Madge. Love him more than ever, mate. After the NRL 360 on the Thursday night, now me and my mates go down there and train right at the Blue Pavilion at Maroubra Beach. And where do you reckon Madge does he cross from Thursday night? Straight at this place we all train, the 400 Club. Shout out to the boys at the 400 Club. We were all talking about that as we were training at 5:15 in the morning. Very brisk morning down there Friday. And there was some very, very happy New South Wales supporters down there that day, I can tell you.
Yeah, I bet there was probably some New South Wales supporters with some very sore heads too that morning. So, look, great win, great performance, great game, and very happy with the result and very excited for next year.
Yeah, Brownie is one of those blokes down there. Apologies, Brownie couldn't make it here. He's on the night shift. It hasn't lined up. We'll get him definitely for Team List Tuesday. We've locked him in for that one. That'll be the next time we see you. But I just want to give a rap to the hooker too. He's just an animal, that hooker. Reece Robson, he doesn't stop. He just goes all day. His defence is outstanding. Just provides such good service for his outside men as well, because they were rushing up on us all night. And on tackle 4 and 5, it was a dead set tactic from Billy Slater, who for me, he's lost a bit of credibility. He's turned into an absolute whinger, Billy Slater, along with DCE. I've had enough of them. They had a definite tactic to hold on to us for an extra 2 or 3 seconds every tackle 4 and 5, just to halt any momentum, any chance we wanted to do set plays on the left-hand side. Brian Toto only got the ball once out the back of shape, once in 80 minutes, because all Queensland did was slowed us down, and they sat in our back line all night. Bloody
Yeah, totally.
Sorry about that rant, but I had to go off on that.
Look, I agree. There was definitely a tactic there. But yeah, look, in summary, what an absolutely insane game of football. There's definitely plenty of talking points there. And as I said, it's probably my favourite time of the year. Excited for next year. It's all I'm thinking about. Tell you that for free.
Yeah, there's going to be some good talking points. Moses, where do we put him now? And what happens with Luai? Is Cleary not an Origin player? Do we just stick with the same team? Anyway, we don't have to worry about that. We've got 12 months to talk about that. Generally, you don't pick your Origin side till the last game on the Sunday evening is finished. You never know with injuries and suspensions, as we've seen in this series. There's been so many people available and unavailable for both sides, including Munster. Latrell Mitchell has missed out. Tommy Turbo has only just come good late in the series, so could be a completely different looking team. We don't know. We're going to wait that whole time. But yeah, like you said, off the back of that, one of the greatest New South Wales series wins in my lifetime. Insane what they achieved.
Yep, exactly. And yeah, look, credit to all the boys as well, and to all the boys that are backed up as well, and some big performances as well. It was great to see some of these Origin guys back up and play for their club, especially the Broncos boys. They killed it too. So yeah, look, amazing to see them 1 or 2 days after one of the better Origin games of all time, and one of the most physical. Them backing up and playing. Credit to them.
Yep, that might be it for another edition of Rabbitohs Radio Podcast. Up the mighty Rabbitohs.
The Bunnies.